Let's take you to Ottawa, because today is the first day the opposition, where they, in this fall setting, where they can present a non-confidence motion in the House of Commons, and that is exactly what the Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has done in his hopes of trying to topple the Liberal minority government. MPs are debating a motion brought forward by him. This is all happening while the Prime Minister is in fact at the United Nations in New York. We are expecting to hear from Justin Trudeau soon, and we'll bring that to you live as soon as it gets underway. So while we are waiting for the Prime Minister, and I'm trying to keep one eye on one of the cameras where we might see the Prime Minister, that's the camera I'm speaking of. Let's bring in CBC's Janice McGregor, who is in Ottawa. So Janice, really busy day. I'm kind of all over the place, as are you, monitoring a whole bunch of things. What's happened in terms of that motion after it was presented by Pierre Poilievre?
Yeah, this monitor has the House, this monitor has New York, and this monitor has you guys at home as we juggle all of this. Look, we are going to see this happen between 5 and 7 times between here and Christmas. An opportunity in the House of Commons for the opposition party to set the agenda, and they can move a motion of whatever nature they choose. In this case, the Conservatives right out the gate for the first one of this fall sitting, they have decided to have a simple kind of 12-word statement that they no longer have confidence in the Prime Minister and the Liberal government. And so the debate started at 10 o'clock. It has been going on all morning and will continue through the afternoon, culminating in the first confidence vote of the fall tomorrow afternoon. Been talking about the highlights all morning. I'm just going to play you an excerpt here. So after each main speech, and we heard an excerpt of Pierre Poilievre's speech, we took some of it live earlier this morning as well. After each speech, there's a question-answer period. For Poilievre's question-answer period, Jagmeet Singh, the NDP leader, made sure that he was in the House to do the questioning himself. He didn't leave it to any of his MPs. A rare opportunity for the NDP leader to question the Conservative leader in the House of Commons. We cut just an excerpt of how that back and forth went, and I think it's quite telling. It sort of really, I think, shows the tensions between the two, not just on policy, but also personally at the moment. And I'll also note, this confidence vote cannot pass unless all the parties are working together. Watch these two gentlemen, see if it looks like they are inclined to work together on anything right now. Take a listen.
He voted to cut healthcare time and time again. Maybe it doesn't matter to somebody who's had the government pay his dentist appointments since his early 20s, but those costs matter to families. So I've got a simple question for the member for Carleton. Let's see if he actually answers this question. Would the member for Carleton cut the dental care program that has provided real relief to seniors and kids? Yes or no?
I encourage him to find one example where I've not voted to increase healthcare transfers. We voted, when I was in government, we increased healthcare transfers by 70%. Now, they propose a pharmacare scheme that would ban union workers from keeping their private pharmacare plans.
So, yeah, not exactly working together to topple this Liberal government, right? A lot of the focus, particularly in terms of the things the Liberals were saying, as well as the New Democrats were saying about the Conservatives in response to sort of this Conservative motion, had to do with sort of what would happen kind of after this motion passed, after there was presumably an election, and based on public opinion surveys, a presumptive Conservative government would be in place, warnings that that Conservative government would be cutting all sorts of things that Canadians value. The Liberals, for example, were asking whether the childcare agreements could be at risk. Pierre Poilievre said no. They were saying, will you raise the retirement age again for seniors, which is something that happened under the Harper government. Pierre Poilievre said no. On the issue of whether he would scrap the dental plan, though, he didn't really clearly answer that. A lot of these sort of most recent programs, including pharmacare, Conservatives have not been fans. And so there will be a choice in front of voters, perhaps, on those policy matters. As Poilievre was kicking off debate, though, at 10 o'clock, interesting strategy on part of the Liberals today. Yes, the Prime Minister is in New York and out of the mix, but no fewer than 7 of his ministers are making themselves available to take reporters' questions over the course of this morning and early afternoon, including 2 of them that were in the foyer to talk about carbon taxes, carbon pricing, and try to do a bit of a contrast play, while Poilievre was on his feet, trying to sort of pull attention away from him, during his kind of marquee kickoff kickoff speech for this debate. Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault, Natural Resources Minister Jonathan Wilkinson talking about all the ways they feel that Poilievre is lying in terms of how he explains the things to Canadians, and also making some accusations about who the Conservatives are really working for when they say they're going to axe the tax. Here is the Environment Minister, Stephen Guilbeault.
He also wants to cut the clean fuel regulations, which is a policy that they supported in their 2021 campaign platform. He wants to cut that. He wants to cut the industrial system. But what he's really doing is pitching for his rich friends and oil and gas CEOs. He wants to give polluters a free pass.
So they are trying to frame the question in front of voters very much in climate terms between their government, which, has done things. People suggest they might be unaffordable in some means, but they believe they are taking appropriate action on climate change, trying to suggest the Conservatives are not prepared to do that and are working instead for the fossil fuel industry. So some pretty stark contrasts being laid out here in this debate, which will continue all day. We will not have a vote today. It will be tomorrow after question period. But because of what was said last week and also listening to what's been going on in the House, we already know that the Bloc and the NDP have no intention of backing this Conservative move.
Exactly. And we don't anticipate anyone on the Liberal side is going to back it. So clearly, Janice, it is not going to pass tomorrow when it comes to a vote. But there's going to be more motions and more votes to come. What is the government's plan for those?
That's right. And one of the other things we'll be watching tomorrow when they all gather to vote is the thing that comes up next, which could be a vote on a motion about the capital gains tax exemption changes that Chrystia Freeland announced in August. They need to get that motion passed. It is a monetary matter, a budgetary matter. Those usually treated as confidence matters in the House. So who's going to support the Liberals to get that bit of work done in light of the fact that they want to provide some assistance to farmers and entrepreneurs who felt unfairly targeted by moves the Liberals were making, they said, to crack down and force the wealthiest Canadians to pay more. So that's going to be worth watching tomorrow afternoon. And then you sort of look at the longer game, the fact that we could have additional opposition day motions, another one Thursday with the Conservatives setting the agenda, eventually other ones involving the Bloc and the NDP, probably about 7 between here and Christmas altogether. When it comes to the Bloc and its future support, they've laid out very clearly what their ransom is for that. They want royal recommendation on a private member's bill that a Bloc MP, Adrienne LaRouche, she spoke this morning, brought forward, looking for a boost to the public pensions that seniors get. They were boosted for those over 75, but she wants them boosted for those over 65 too. Something that carries a huge price tag, like billions of dollars, I think 16 billion over 5 years by one estimate. So this would have tremendous monetary considerations, which is why they need what they call a royal recommendation in order for that to proceed. And without it, the final vote on that private member's bill will be blocked in the House of Commons. The Bloc wants the Cabinet to give its recommendation, commit to sort of providing the billions in its fiscal framework going forward to make this happen. Chrystia Freeland, the finance minister, when she was in front of reporters today, was asked about whether they would consider moves like that to help seniors. And listen to what the Deputy Prime Minister said on that.
When it comes to further support for seniors, we are having good conversations about all possible economic measures with both the Bloc and the NDP, and those conversations are ongoing.
So she didn't say no. She also didn't say yes. As we game this out, so we will have this kind of dance through the fall through all these potential opposition day motions and future confidence votes. But then we will have a budget next spring. If they're to do something like this, that would have a huge budgetary impact. So we watch to see how that would affect other things the Liberals may or may not want to put in what would be their final budget if they make it that far. Next spring, it could be the kind of budget that they want to be an election platform. Maybe they want to fall on their own budget instead of falling on the opposition party's timing. All of these very active strategies, and we're just watching them all kind of navigate them. But we'll hear from the Prime Minister soon. We'll see if he talks not just about weighty international matters, but also his very acute domestic ones here at home as well.
I enjoyed that shimmy, Janice, watching it all. CBC's Janice McGregor in Ottawa.
Look, you got to enjoy your job.
Yeah,
Like, this is going to be a
100%.
long fall if you don't sort of find some joy.
Thank you so much.